Hello friends, I'm Kayla, host, creator of the Literally Dead Book Club, a thriller mystery horror book club where we read 10 books a year, typically. This year we're reading 12. I'll explain in a second. And I need to talk to you about the next couple months, the final couple months of the 2024 Literally Dead Book Club situation. Quick reminder that we're currently reading Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. I'm gonna have a live show. I haven't announced the dates yet, but I'll figure it out soon. I think my friends Elias and Sam are going to be with me. I will link them down below so you can catch up on their content, their history with Riley Sager, and we're gonna be talking about this. Very mixed results I've seen so far in the book club. There's a Goodreads group if you wanna chat about it. There's an Instagram page if you wanna chat about it. Now let's talk about the August pick, which I have mentioned. Like, I always spoil the picks. These announcement videos are just for the official places to come if you missed me mentioning it in multiple other places. But if you know me, it's no surprise that August is for I Was a Teenage Slasher by Stephen Graham Jones, because I am a Stephen Graham Jones ultimate fangirl. I'm actually syncing up with Gabby again from the book troupe. We seem to do this every year now. We do, because there are so many books that we're equally interested in. It's like, why not combine our powers and just do a live show on both of our channels simultaneously? I'm not sure who else is going to be joining us in this live show, but this is the pick. I'm so excited about it. This is set in Texas, July 1989. We have a 17-year-old main character. Stephen Graham Jones also was 17 at this time. So is it partially a memoir? I don't know. Considering it kicks off with our main character talking about how he wishes he could unkill the 6 people that he committed crimes against, I would think not. Here's the brief explanation. Tolly and Amber are best friends. They feel like they're nobody at school. Tolly is only on the radar due to his father's recent death, and Amber's the only native student in town. Things are about to change for them. They're about to become notorious. Their story is going to be turned into a TV movie because bodies are dropping fast in this small West Texas town. It says, this is Stephen Graham Jones x-raying the slasher genre, interrogating its motivations over the shoulder and in the voice of the killer itself. It says the kills will be poignant, the jokes will hurt, and the violence will be endearing. Everything's turned around for Tolly, for Amber, for all of La Mesa, Texas. I'm so unbelievably hyped to read this. I can't believe I have to wait like a whole month because I've already seen so many people pick this up, and I'm jealous, and I hope that you will join us for the book club discussion. Keep an eye out for our socials for the official announcement for that. Now, September, this is another one that I am dying to pick up immediately. I see people reading already, but if you will pause on it, if you're also interested in it, and read it with me in September, I would be delighted. I'm gonna be joined by, I think, my friends Deja, Allie, and Sid, because they all have this on their radar as well. As a lot of people seem to be hyped about this. It is The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. This is a book of the month selection, so you can head over there, pick it up. Do I have any like affiliate links that I could utilize? I don't know. But this has intrigued me since the cover dropped. Like the pink, we're just in a pink vibe right now with the book club, and I think that's really beautiful. Pause, merch wise, they haven't, Bonfire, the company that I do my merch through, hasn't come back with this pink shirt yet, but there's a tie-dye one that's new that has some pink, and it's so pretty, I can't believe it. And then they have this new thing that's kind of like tie-dye, Color Blast tees. There's gray and blue and purple, but there's also this pinky red that I think is just perfection. And I think it looks like this, but just a little bit different, maybe a little more coral rather than baby pink. I think I need to order it. Anyway, I brought back the pink mugs. There's also some new brown options that I really like. So if you want to go over to my Bonfire merch page, there are some new colors for you to peruse. But this is, I want to pitch it correctly because it's a literary mystery. Like, if you like literary fiction, if you like historical fiction that has a little bit of a mystery plot, then I want you to read this with me. It's a long one. It comes in at over 450 pages. I've heard it's very ambitious. You're following a lot of perspectives and a lot of different timelines. Sometimes the top of a page will look like this, where I guess we're going to be visiting all of these different timelines with these characters. I don't know who anybody is in it, but what has happened is it opens in August 1975. We have a character named Barbara who her family owns this summer camp, and she's gone missing. But apparently her brother, her older brother, also went missing 14 years ago. It says, as a panicked search begins, a thrilling drama unfolds, chasing down the layered mysteries of the Van Laar family and the blue-collar community living and working in its shadow. Moore's multi-threaded story invites readers into a rich and gripping dynasty of secrets. It says it's wide-reaching and ambitious. It's a story of inheritance and second chances, the tensions between a family and community, and a history that will not let any of them go. I just feel like this sounds really gripping, and all the reviews that I've seen for it, obviously there have been some negative ones already saying like, oh, this is already an overhyped one, but I've just seen so many people say that this is one that you have to read. Me specifically have to read it. So I thought, why don't I invite you to read it with me? If you like family drama, if you like intricately layered stories, but there also is a mystery to follow, I think this will be a really interesting one for us to discuss together. I feel like we've done a lot of literary horror, but we haven't done a lot of literary mystery. Now, after this behemoth of a book, you think, okay, for October, we're gonna read some horror and let's make it short. Let's have like a fun novella. That's what I was thinking. But then I thought, I have steered away from individual novellas. We've done it once, actually we've done it twice, and I just feel like there's not that much to talk about with such a short book. But there's some novellas that I'm really interested in reading. And so I thought, for the month of October, for the first time ever, let's read 3 books. They're all novellas, and actually all of them combined, the page count is still less than one of the novels that we're reading this year. So if you're also into short stories and you want to read some things, here's what we're up to. And to participate in the live show, you don't have to read all 3. You can just read the one that intrigues you the most. But I have some co-hosts coming on who are committing to reading all 3 with me. I have my friends Sally and Chanel for sure on board. First one we'll be discussing is Graveyard Shift by M.L. Rio. This comes in at 144 pages. So many of us read If We Were Villains in like 2017. Fell in love with it and have been waiting for this author to come out with something. And I want to read this so bad, and I want to read it with everybody, and I want to discuss all of our reactions to it. So this is what kicked off the whole idea of doing novellas together. This is, it's a story about a ragtag group of night shift workers who meet in the local cemetery to unearth the secrets lurking in an open grave. We have a bartender, a rideshare driver, a hotel receptionist, the steward of the derelict church that looms over them, and the editor-in-chief of a college paper. One dark October evening, oh my god, I didn't even know it was set in October and we're reading it in October. In the defunct churchyard, they find a hole that wasn't there before, a fresh open grave where no grave should be. But who dug it and for whom? Before they go their separate ways, the gravedigger returns. This has a release date of late September, so give it a pre-order. So I picked this book. I thought that's not enough. Let's do another novella. And there is a translated one if you haven't read a lot in this area. I have been loving translated horror and just translated short fiction this year. So this one comes in at 208 pages. It was originally published in 2021 by Hildur Knudsendisch and recently translated by Mary Robinette Cowell. It comes out at the beginning of September and it's another pink cover, The Night Guest. This follows a woman in Iceland. She is having extreme fatigue. She's exhausted all the time, can't figure it out, is getting blood tests, going to doctors, talking to all of her friends and family, fixing her diet, her sleep routine, and then one night she falls asleep with her watch on that detects you know, her steps, and she finds out she's walked 40,000 steps in the night. What is happening when she's asleep? Why is she waking up with increasingly disturbing injuries? And why won't anyone believe her? That's all it says. I'm so intrigued by this, and I've heard a lot of good things. Apparently it's a little bit bizarre, and I'm really excited to talk about it with everybody. And then, if you saw my Instagram stories from the other day, I was looking for people to tell me their favorite novella, because I also want to pick a backlist. If we're going to read 3 novellas, why not pull one that people have already read that can be recommended, so we're not going into things completely unknowing and like anything could happen. Of course, most of the things suggested I have already read, and I did for a second consider doing a reread. Maybe that's something we could do in the Literally Dead Book Club in the future in a more structured way, like regularly, or I don't know. But there were a lot of good things that came in, a couple things on my TBR. The one that was mentioned the most that I haven't already read is called This Is Where We Talk Things Out. Written by Caitlin Marceau. This says, Miller and her estranged mother Sylvie have always had a tense relationship, but after Miller's father dies, she agrees to a girl's vacation away from the city to reconnect with the only family she's left. Unfortunately, Sylvie's trapped in the past. She recreated Miller's childhood home down to the smallest details. She's even found adult versions of Miller's childhood outfits and is desperate to revive the happy family they once had at any cost. I've heard that this is a slower one. It's just a lot of family dynamics being explored, but then also it gets a little weird. It comes in at 82 pages, so it's a quick one. I think there is also an audiobook for this one. I picked up a lot of novellas that you all recommended, but a lot of them are only available as physical copies, and I wanted to make sure everybody had the opportunity to pick things up. But I now do have a stack of novellas that I'm gonna read in the month of October, as well as these 3. So this is our October situation. Read 1, read 3. I'll make sure to tell you in the live show when the spoilers are gonna be and keep it really organized. And hopefully that will lead to a good length discussion if we're covering 3 things all at the same time. And I hope I end up liking them all. Now, finally, we have our November pick, which is always voted on by everybody in the Instagram stories of the Literally Dead Book Club Instagram. So make sure you're following that. So when I do post the polls in the month of September, you see them and you get to place your vote. But right now, if you want to tell me which one of these you're most interested in the comments below, like that would be interesting. But I will now pitch you all 8 of them that are going to be up for your votes. They're all 2024 releases. I think all of them lean into horror as opposed to thriller and mystery because that's just the mood that I'm in. So we've got This Cursed House by Del Sandine, which is a Southern Gothic horror debut. A young Black woman abandons her life in 1960s Chicago for a position with a mysterious family in New Orleans, only to discover the dark truth. They're under a curse and they think she can break it. It Will Only Hurt for a Moment by Delilah S. Dawson is an atmospheric feminist horror novel about a woman trying to reinvent herself at a secluded artist colony, only to be drawn into its dark past. If you want to go check out the Goodreads and see like some early reviews of all of these, I will link that down below. Next up is Mask of Flies by Matthew Lyons. This says it's a crime horror novel which blends It Follows and The Outsider with a pinch of The Evil Dead, in which a criminal and the cop she's taken hostage must find their way to safety, pursued by threats both human and supernatural, after a failed bank robbery. Next, I have Sleep Tight by J.H. Markert. It says the sole survivor of a serial killer might hold the key to stopping a new spree of murders. Our main character may hold a crucial childhood memory that could connect to her daughter's kidnapper. The synopsis is long, you can go read it yourself, but one reviewer said it's fast-paced, it has intricate moving parts. The story introduces compelling complexities that leave readers pondering the true identity of the antagonist, which I just think is really intriguing. Then I have Midnight Rooms by Donya Coles, which is set in a Gothic mansion. It's 1840. We follow an orphan who a man shows up at the manor one day and wants to make her his bride. She's whisked away, and it says Midnight Rooms is a sweeping saga with supernatural undertones set in Victorian England, vibrating with tension, richly atmospheric, haunted by ghosts, guilt, and familial bonds. It's an electrifying story that will linger in your dreams. So there are these rooms that she can't go into and like what's up with her husband. Then we have my favorite cover, Necrology by Meg Ripley. This looks like it's gonna be more literary. It says, in a fantastical aftermath of the Salem witch trials, magical women known as the Dirty have signed a contract swearing off their innate magic in exchange for freedom from violence. 200 years later, in an orphanage, we have a woman who sprouts antlers, proving that somebody violated that contract. We're following an 8-year-old girl named Rabbit who curses somebody dead. There are charges, there's trials, an execution is planned, there's a revolution. It sounds like that fantasy horror mix that we typically end up reading in November. One of my favorite current horror authors is Alexis Henderson. She has a new one coming up called An Academy for Liars. It's going to be another fantasy with a little bit of horror vibes. It says a student will find that the hardest lessons sometimes come outside of the classroom in this stunning dark academia novel. We have a main character, a young woman invited to a prestigious college. She becomes captivated by her studies and then uncovers the dark history behind the school. And finally, there's The Bogwife by Kay Chronister, which is an atmospheric Appalachian Gothic. The siblings in this family must unearth long buried secrets to carve out a future when the supernatural bargain entwining their fate with their ancestral land is suddenly ruptured. I think all the ones I mentioned, or the majority, come out in the fall, so they don't have a ton of reviews yet. And I'm excited to see what you guys pick, what appeals to you. They're all full-length novels that mix this fantasy, horror, speculative thing all together that I love to read with you. And I have no idea who will be participating in the live show. I think my friend Gavin committed to reading whatever ends up being voted for. So pick something fun for us. And I'll be sure to mention the winner, not just on Instagram, but in some type of video here. And those are all of the plans for the rest of the year. All of the 2024 Literally Dead Book Club reading goals. If anybody has read all of the picks so far, I would love to know. If you plan to continue through the entire end of the year, I appreciate you reading and discussing everything with me. And I will see you again later. I'm looking forward to reading your comments and seeing what you think about everything. Bye.